Hello, darkness, my old friend.
That was so long. Welcome back, everybody, to another Justin Watching Movies movie review, and today I'll be discussing Ben-Hur, the 1959 version. I guess there was a couple other versions before that because they just like telling the story over and over again. I got a special guest for you guys today. 22TigerDude will be on this video to discuss his thoughts on the 1959 version of Ben-Hur. So I'm going to let 22TigerDude discuss his thoughts, and then I will jump in afterwards. So 22TigerDude, take it away.
Hello everybody on Justin Watches Movies channel. This is 22TigerDude here, and I want to thank Justin so much for bringing me here on his channel to be reviewing the 1959 classic Ben-Hur. This really is just such an achievement. For its time, Ben-Hur just accomplished so many things. From the storytelling to the filmmaking to the performances, just everything you need to create such a movie is in Ben-Hur, and man did they really succeed. And this is a film with a 3-hour and 40-minute long running time. This is an extremely long movie, but I have to say, for everything they cram in this very long movie, they really succeed. And I think for the most part, it's actually very well paced. Yeah, you would think for a 3-hour and 40-minute long movie that it was just going to be dragging and dragging. But in my opinion, for the most part, it doesn't really do that. The story of Judah Ben-Hur, you see him go through the rough life of once becoming a slave, then once the whole slave life is over, you know, he's out for revenge because of what happened to him. To see this entire storyline unfold really is something so engaging. Charlton Heston is great as Judah Ben-Hur. You can really feel for this character. You can see in the eyes of the character what he's feeling. He doesn't have to say a word of how he's feeling. Everything he's experiencing, everything he feels, you can see it all through his eyes. There are other beautiful performances in this film, like Jack Hawkins as Quintus. He was really great. Stephen Boyd is really great as Messala, Judah Ben-Hur's brother. Haya Hara-Reed is really great as Esther, and everything else as far as performances go is truly excellent. Everybody gives it their all in Ben-Hur. It's just amazing seeing a classic film like this and just seeing how much passion each of the actors had in this classic, beautiful, epic movie. This is truly the definition of an epic movie. Just seeing the scope, the cinematography in Ben-Hur is some of the best cinematography I've seen ever in a movie. It is truly tremendous how beautiful each of the framing and the cinematography looks. William Wyler just did a really great job of really putting you in this atmosphere, just telling the story, and you literally feel like you are in this biblical tale. You feel like you are in Judah Ben-Hur's story, and it's just really fascinating to see where the storyline is going. The way the actors deliver their lines is just so powerful and so meaningful, and it just creates for some seriously beautiful movie magic. And that's credit to Lee Wallace and Carl Thunberg. They really wrote the screenplay for this film just so well. The score in Ben-Hur literally screams epic. Whenever there is an epic moment going, anytime they play that epic Ben-Hur score, it is tremendous. And anytime you get a very character-driven moment where everything is just so dramatic and so powerful, they literally let the music come in very naturally. That chariot race scene, which I'm sure is a scene you all hear a lot about, but that is easily one of the greatest scenes in cinema history. What they did to film that entire chariot race scene really screams epic. That chariot race scene alone just makes Ben-Hur such an epic movie. So much camera work to really admire in Ben-Hur because of some of the techniques they had to really make you feel like you are in this world. How this film even handles Jesus Christ was really powerful. You never see his face once, and I thought that really added more power because it just leaves more to the audience's imagination. That was really cool how they handled that. They crammed so much in, and they really flesh out the scenes, they flesh out the storyline, and they add so much meaning and so much power to the storyline. And then once you do actually reach to the ending of Ben-Hur, after being in this grand movie for over 3 hours long, I get the chills. How this film ends is the definition of perfect. That was a perfect way to end an epic biblical tale of Judah Ben-Hur. You actually want to cry and smile at the same time with the ending because of how beautiful it is. Now, honestly, there is one flaw I do have with this film, and it is a very major one. It is the pacing. I did say that this is a 3 hour and 40 minute long film, technically 3 hours and 30 minutes long if you take away like the intersection, but I will say, just for 20 minutes, in the middle section, there's like a 15 to 20 minute section where I'm always like, yeah, I could feel the movie dragging. Not to the point where I'm extremely bored, but just for that section of the movie, I would find myself just a little bit bored, and I do feel like that they could pick up the pace because they would drag a couple of scenes in the middle section a little too long in my opinion. And I do understand why, because they want to cram in the important information. So I don't know if I could even technically say it should be cut out because I actually recognize that it's important for the story. I just do feel like in the middle section there's always that 15 to 20 minute section where I did find myself a little bit bored, where I did find the film to be dragging just a bit. For me to say 20 minutes of a movie drags, in my opinion, for a movie that's over 3 hours long, like for me to actually say that, that's actually still not bad. This movie still flies by more than some of the movies that are like, what, 2 hours and 30 minutes long? Like, yes, even with that middle section, this movie still flies by for having a running time of over 3 hours long. But I would say if this movie was at least 3 hours and 10 minutes long, I do think it would have been a perfectly paced movie. Besides that, I thought this movie actually flew by, and this is, like I said, 3 hours and 30 minutes long. But the long running time is actually necessary for this film. There's so much they put into this film. There's so much of the storyline, so much of the information. Ben-Hur is a classic. It is amazing. I love the 1959 Ben-Hur so much, and I do think it's a film that you should definitely check out if you're a huge cinephile. This is a film that I think huge cinephiles can really appreciate when you look at it from the camera work to the storytelling to the performances and the boat sequence along with the chariot scene in this film. Beautifully executed, beautifully filmed. The boat sequence is just as grand and epic as once we do get to the chariot race scene in this film. Ben-Hur, it's just an outstanding film. I loved it, and I'm gonna give Ben-Hur an A-, which would be 3.5 out of 4 stars on my channel. Justin, thank you so much for bringing me here to review this classic, man. But now, Justin, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the spotlight, my friend. So you guys, this is 22TigerDude here on Justin's channel, and don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power.
Thank you, Mr. 22TigerDude, for being on my channel once again to discuss Ben-Hur. Now, Ben-Hur is a very, very long movie. I was going to watch it before the new one came out because I've never seen it before, and then I looked at the time and just Didn't know I needed to dedicate so much of my life to this movie. And Ben-Hur tells the story of Judah Ben-Hur, who is betrayed by his Roman friend that he's known since he was a kid, and he's exiled to be a slave, and he spends like 5 years as a slave, and then he realizes that he can do a chariot race against Masella, the person who put him as a slave in the first place, and kind of just like a vengeance thing for him, and he is trained by this sheik because he is someone who bets on races in the first place. And I guess this is a tale out of the Bible because Jesus Christ is involved in this as well, and someone who has not read the Bible, person who doesn't know what to believe in when it comes to Jesus Christ, I didn't know this was a tale from the Bible, and Jesus Christ popped up and like, hey, there's Jesus. This was a long movie. I'm going to be honest with you, this movie bored me at times because it's an epic piece and there was a lot of dialogue, a lot of setting up of this relationship and the chariot races and him being betrayed. There's just so much setup. This movie is almost 4 hours long, and for a movie to be that long with little amount of action, you know there's going to be a lot of dialogue. Though this film is filmed beautifully, the set pieces are something to marvel over. I was amazed from beginning to end of how this film looked. The chariot races were handled so well. I wish action scenes were filmed like this now. Just very swift camera work. You get to see all of the horses just roll around and run around everything. It's fun. I was just amazed at the set pieces, the costume designs, the work overall put into this film, even though the film bored me a lot. Now, one of my issues with this film is I didn't feel invested in, I guess, the relationship between Judah Ben-Hur and Masella. They, you know, supposedly like the best of friends, and then he betrayed him and he wanted to go back to Jerusalem to go on this race, the chariot race. And I just didn't feel like there was a connection between these two characters. I guess a reason to betray someone, and the whole storyline is about the betrayal of Masella against Judah Ben-Hur and coming back and seeking vengeance on him. I just didn't feel like the whole storyline about them two, the whole 3 hours and 44 minutes, I think, just wasn't something to grasp onto. This was the whole storyline. I felt like it should have been developed a lot more, but at times, surprisingly, it felt really quick. There was also times in the film where there was little side things or scenes that did not add to this relationship or add it to the storyline at all. I understand that this movie is mostly about Ben-Hur and the chariot races and Masella, but then you have Jesus Christ in there. I know he's at the same time that these people are living, but just didn't really feel like it added much to the storyline. This film is shot beautifully. I did like the chariot races. I just didn't really care about the relationship between Masella and Judah Ben-Hur. I really felt like they were like co-workers. You know, they didn't really work together, but they just felt like they were co-workers. The relationship was like if I worked with someone at a store, don't really know you that much, but you're cool, but when it comes down to it, I'm not going to save your life. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and give Ben-Hur a B-. I did really like how this was filmed. Beautiful, beautiful set pieces, and it was like one of the largest set pieces at the time it was filmed, which was pretty cool to hear. It definitely shows. So 22TigerDude, thank you for being on my channel. It's always a pleasure to have you here on my channel. Stick around, everybody, for my remake review of Ben-Hur and a comparison video of the 1959 version of Ben-Hur and the new 2016 version of Ben-Hur. Thank you guys for watching. As always, it's Just Watch Movies, and you stay classy, YouTube.